to be able to be as creative as possible, to do the best work that any of us can do, it's not an accident. The longer that I practice and work professionally, it's not an accident that you're in the right mindset to be able to access creativity and be able to help clients in the most meaningful and quickest way, like having a mind that's clear, that is ready to go. It's not an accident. That's what this video is about, is day structure. It's practicing your free throws. It's practicing every day, getting up at the same time, the morning routine, having that structure so that you can show up for your clients, for your work, for your business as ready to go as possible. And in a world where everybody was home, or even in a post-COVID or a pre-COVID world, juggling family, juggling hobbies, juggling work, juggling dogs, whatever it is, it's not easy. And so being intentional about the way that you structure your day that works with your personality very specifically. I'm a morning person, I'm not an evening person. So that's where all of this is coming from. That's a big part of why I'm making this video, because I found it to be incredibly helpful, not only for my work, but for my mental health and for my family life. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. When you look at this image, this is just a quick time lapse throughout my day. The very first thing that I'm doing is I do some stretching while I wait for my coffee to get made. I'm reading a document here where it's a combination of mindset and goals, different things like that. I immediately get to work on some things that I try to not do email. I try to start in a place where I'm thinking about things. A lot of it is strategy. A lot of it is marketing or how I can improve what I'm offering clients, things like that, but not getting pulled into email, not getting pulled into the sort of day-to-day, whack-a-mole type things. And so that's the very beginning of my morning. And I'm not in the office now. I've now gone and I'm helping my kids get off to school, which is, about an hour, hour and a half of time every morning. That this is one of the benefits of having a home office. The dogs can come and go. Like my big dog just showed up there. And it's a way that I can have this kind of process where I get up in the morning early. I have that hour, 2 hours maybe, that frankly is some of the most productive and important time of my day. And so now we're back. It's probably about 8 o'clock, maybe a little after 8. The kids are at school. I've got a coffee. I'm good to go. And now is when I might get into, checking email, really seeing what I need to do for the day. I'm a big calendar person, so everything that is in my calendar exists. And if it doesn't exist in my calendar, I may not remember that it's there. And so what we're seeing here, I think I was listening to an interview on the left there as I was doing a little bit less focused work, I guess, like a little bit more production type work, which I can, see on my screen what I'm doing there, and some calls and different things sort of in between. But what I try to do is really block my time, be very careful about not jumping around too much, having 1 or 2 projects a day that I work on in addition to the business development that I do. And that could be marketing or, sales stuff, talking with clients, responding to questions about how we work together, whatever it is. And so, this is sped up at about 5 times. And so, even in what we're seeing now, there's a pretty good chunk of time there where I'm just working on one project. And right now I've transitioned into a client meeting. So I've got, my microphone, my adjustable desk. I found this to be a really nice thing. My friend Jonathan made this beautiful walnut top for these legs that go up and down. And it's a nice way for me to be able to work at the proper height ergonomically. So a little higher than what you're seeing here, be able to adjust my desk so that the calls I do, which are very frequent, and this video today actually is actually not that many calls for me typically, but either way, you can lower the desk so the camera's at the right height. And then even better when I want to, so the desk just popped up a few inches there, which makes a big difference on, my posture isn't great in this video, but I do try to be really careful with, the way I'm sitting and not sitting in one place for too long. And I have all sorts of like little doohickeys and, wrist rests and things like that to try to maintain comfort, and including standing. So the desk will go up to a standing height. And I find more than wanting to work at a standing desk all day, I just like having the variety, because some days, if I'm just typing emails or looking on the internet, standing feels great. if I am doing more sort of concentrated work or talking to clients, I often find that I actually want to be sitting down more. And so this is a funny day because actually one of my kids came down with strep throat, and so I had to leave in the middle of the day to go help her and take care of her. But I've been working from home for, I guess, almost 15 years now, and so way before the pandemic. But when the pandemic hit, a lot of us had to change our work styles, and we've all done that in different ways, whether it's not being in offices as much anymore or whatever the case is. But when we moved a few years ago, having a proper home office, and here we are standing. And so, it's a nice mix up and it's easy to do. One thing I try to do is make sure that things I use, whether you can see the camera right here that I'm recording on this video on, is set up. It's just sitting there almost permanently because that way I don't have to be pulling things apart to do different things. And so having some variety, having accessibility, having a home office that has a door on it. So very specifically, I'm not in this office, in this room, unless I'm really working in a focused way. And this camera that we're shooting the video on is on my bookshelf, so you can't see the books to the left. There was pinup stuff in my drawing table. But, here we are closer to the end of the day and the lights are off. And so, I really try not to work at night. I'm a morning person. So what I have found over the years is that structuring the day in a way that actually suits you, your personality, and your workflow, that's what I've done. And it's taken some experimentation. I tried staying up later. I tried getting up even earlier than 5, but 5 seems to be the number. It works with my wife's schedule. It works with my kids' schedule. It allows me to have, I think very crucially, that hour and a half or 2 hours in the morning where I can reset myself every day. It's a combination of, again, sort of reading different goals I've set out for myself, the objective that I'm sort of putting forward, like, why am I doing the work I do? So really just having a very clear focus on that, who I'm working with, what type of projects I'm doing. And really importantly for me, some breathing exercises. I call it breathing. It really is meditation, but really even just 2 to 5 minutes of just really trying to clear your mind. It's amazing how I first discovered that when I was competitive climbing, and how I learned it in Robin Erbisfield's book. Again, this is back in the 90s when I read this, but just it was really sort of meditation for concentration. And so I have found that was back when I was 15. So here we are almost 30 years later somehow. And it has come in and out of my life. But I would just have to say that some degree of meditation or breathing exercises, concentration training, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. But it goes such a long way. And I've just seen like continued benefit to the point where now I've like formally incorporated it into my day. And so the day goes like this: wake up, I make coffee, and as the coffee's making, I do about a 5-minute yoga flow. And it's nothing official. It's just me going through a series of exercises, kind of getting my body warmed up. You used to see this in the Bauhaus. You see this in other countries still. Doing some exercise to just kind of get your body moving. And I found, to be completely honest, I'm more flexible than I've been in since I can remember. And it's just from a little bit every day. And so coffee's made, ready to go. That's when I go sit in my chair, do my reading, look through my objectives, look through, what my ambitions are, sort of reminding myself at a high level of sort of positive affirmations about just maintaining the high quality way of thinking that I try to bring through every aspect of my life. And then some breathing exercises, and off we go. All of that really only takes about a half an hour, 40 minutes, but that's me shooting free throws. That's me practicing every day to show up to work, to show up for my clients, to be able to produce things that are as creative and as good as I can make them, because the mindset has to be there for the creativity to actually flourish. And, that's what I've learned over the years, is that the way I look at things is it's so much of this improvisation with the client, the back and forth, answering questions, responding to their needs with solutions. And that has to come from the right mindset, the right mental space. And so much of that is that. It also, just as an aside, for anybody who's sort of on a mental health note, if anybody is fighting depression, which I would say, I think all of us are to some degree, That structure also, especially the meditation or the breathing side of it, just settles everything down. So it's a great way to start the day. And in fact, on a weekend where, maybe I sleep a little later, maybe I don't have such a formal routine, I notice the difference in a negative way. Like I frankly am a better person, I think, and more creative doing things this way, which is why, you hear about Kobe shooting free throws. I mean, I'm not Kobe, but this is why I do it. It's the same reason, to keep myself tuned up and in the right place. And then from there, it's really about structuring the day, focusing on the top 2 or 3 objectives for the day, having it in my calendar, having it very clearly mapped out. I've got calendars and wall calendars and all sorts of different things in the studio that help me keep things organized so that I know what's due, what's coming up, who I need to talk to, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to go through a more sort of technical way of organizing things and showing some of that in a different video. But for now, I just wanted to touch on the day structure stuff because I found it super important to be able to fit my work in with my kids, with my family, while also being able to do the best work that I can. It's a lot to ask, and it's not an accident that I think it actually works. And so that's why I wanted to share it. If it's helpful for you, please reach out. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.